Bueno, buenas tardes. Voy a ir comprobando que todo funciona como siempre. Sabéis que nos podéis ver desde LinkedIn, desde YouTube y simplemente ahora mismo comprobando que todo el audio funciona. Si alguien nos puede escuchar, puede ir dejando en comentarios que estamos en directo y todo se escucha correctamente. Perfecto. De momento todo bien. Voy a cortar por aquí. Genial. Bueno, buenas tardes. No solo IA, episodio XX de la segunda temporada. Nunca voy a ser capaz de recordar el número del episodio. Tampoco es que creo que aporte mucho valor. No obstante, para no dejar a nuestros invitados más tiempo en la sala de espera, os aviso que a partir de ahora vamos a seguir en inglés, porque, bueno, es el idioma del quórum. Así que, como os decía, voy a ir dándole paso uno por uno porque lo que tenemos hoy es un escándalo. Hello guys, how are you?
Hello.
Ignacio Ferrer
Hello,
Pons.
fine.
Hello. Ignacio Ferrer Pons,
Hello.
Bax President, Bax Society President. Matías Monteagudo. They will present. Yeah, they will present themselves. They will have time to present themselves. Brin from Hacken and Íñigo Cole de Portugal. What to say about him? But I don't want to waste your time with unuseful questions. We are here today as we stand on the title of the podcast to talk about what can be the biggest heist in history. It might be, and I think it is, but someone can think that stealing $1.4 billion worth in Ethereum is not an actual heist, because what is Ethereum in reality? What is code in a file stored maybe in a computer somewhere. So nowadays, talking about this nowadays is so relevant because this is not a change on the paradigm, it's the actual paradigm. We are giving value to things that are not actually material, So thank you for being here in No Solo AI, No Solo IA. Thank you guys, and I would love you guys to present yourself to the audience, to your name, what you do, what you love, what you talk about. So first, Ignacio, welcome. Tell us about you.
Hello. Thank you. Welcome. As you said, I am president of Blockchain Arbitration and Commerce Society. That's a neutral association, and we try to work on legality, security. Okay, it's difficult in some way because, unfortunately, very position on this perspective. And here we have some friends in this meeting, as Íñigo, that is the president of the tribunal. We have also Matías, that he was the first to believe in bugs with Melifex, because he was using an escrow contract and he submitted any dispute between two bugs, but the way they were submitting it is through a wallet, something that is very innovative and very, very interesting. And then we have Brain from Hacken, and he's an expert for me. I would like to know more about Brain. Think about this hacked, technically speaking, and that's my perspective, because I am more on the legal side and trying to find solutions to these kind of problems.
Yes, thank you, Ignacio. Matías, what about you?
So some of it already was said by Ignacio, but yeah, essentially when he and I first met was through this relationship. Back then I was mostly involved with Melifex, And we were creating essentially a non-custodial escrow payment service for real-world assets, so to speak. And obviously, the scope of collaboration with Bax was arbitration. This one thing led to another. I then joined Bax as an advisor. Also, with Bax, we did some things like our contribution to DORA, to the Digital Resiliency Operational Resiliency Act, and yeah, as of late, I also joined as one of the capital partners of a private equity fund. So very complete, I think.
Thank you, Matthias. Thank you. Brain, hello.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having us. This is an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys. Yes, so my name is Bryn. I represent Hackearon. We are one of the most established cybersecurity companies in the blockchain space. We've been working for 7 years to protect blockchain protocols and products built on blockchains from hackers. We've squished over 8,000 bugs in that time.
Ooh.
And I love saying that. And a couple of Fridays ago at about 5 p.m., I messaged my team to say, guys, can you smell the weekend coming? What are you guys doing? And then about 20 minutes later, this Bybit hack happened. So we were on call all weekend. We were all working really hard to help to figure out what actually happened from the cybersecurity perspective. This process is called the post-mortem. I have that ready to share with you guys, so we can look into the technical aspects of what happened. I can show you some demonstrations as well of the what went wrong. Yeah, love to share that kind of information. I'm not a lawyer, I'll be honest, but so I can't give
That's
legal
why
advice.
we have here Inigo.
Yeah, but I'm just glad to be in the room with you guys and hear your perspective as well. So I'll hand over to Inigo.
Yeah, thank you, Brain. That's why we have Inigo and Ignacio here. And
Yes.
Inigo, finally, thank you for joining us.
Excuse me. I am anxious to hear what Bryn has to say, because I think I have a lot to learn about all that, and I am very keen and would like to be aware of what really happened in this theft. I worked for myself and for the Spanish government. I mean, I am a lawyer, and I'm a lawyer in the Council of State in Spain, an institution that has not really any paragon in the British legal system, nor in many other systems. It's a French institution that we imported in the 19th century, though we pretend that it has 500 years of age, and it does have with other means. I am very interested in this hacking because it's the first time that private, so to say, a private theft has the enormous amount of state theft. I mean, if you think of $1 billion, that's frequent and unusual. When states are at stake, it is not so usual when any thief comes to your house and drills a hole. So this is very interesting because it's the future in thefts. Why? Because we are in the peer-to-peer society, and this must be led with peer-to-peer remedies, legal remedies, which do not exist. That's why we have created Baxit. Baxit is, we work with Bax. That's why we are Baxit. And what we pretend is to put an end to this. Well, we can't put an end to this, but to have legal remedies that are efficient in a peer-to-peer world, so that we really can put our solutions that national states cannot by any means, but because there are lots of problems that we can talk about later. And this is particularly useful in the, not just for Bitcoin, but for any kind of tokens, because the future is in the tokenization of reality, not of virtual reality. I mean, you can sell products, selling the product or selling the token that represents the product, and that is absolutely the future. And we want to be the first. I think we are the first to build a structure in order to find legal solutions to all these problems. Sorry if I've been too long.
No worry. Thank you, Ignacio. It's so relevant to say, I like that peer-to-peer problems, peer-to-peer solutions. That's something very relevant. And finally, thank you guys for presenting yourselves, because we are here today, as Inigo said, to know what happened. How can anyone, possibly steal $1.4 billion from anywhere? What happened? It may happen again. It will happen again. But we all are working somehow in our areas of expertise. We are all working to avoid it to happening again. So, Ignacio, how do you think this? How relevant you think this Heist, this $1.4 billion Heist, is nowadays? How is possible to steal
Yes.
$1.4 billion from anywhere?
What I read is that this, I think, I have seen in history, because there were other cases, not in crypto, but they were. I think I read something about Saddam Hussein, that he stole like 1 billion franc, something like that, in 2003. But okay, this is like worst. And as Inigo
His own
said,
bank.
yes, it was his own bank. So we have other cases, like, if I am not wrong, okay, the one using I think it was with this game, taking the oracle. That is something that sometimes happens. Instead of attacking the blockchain, you attack the oracle. In this case, I think they attack the wallet. Or I don't know. I want to know. I want to learn from Rain or Matthias if it was phishing or something like that. But for us, for Baxi, is finding solutions within the blockchain, because we can program tokens. So that's the real value of a blockchain, is that you can self-regulate yourself. So the Web3 guys, they say that code is law and there is no problem, but that's not true, because code is law is not as simple as that. So you need to find solutions. You can find solutions outside the blockchain. So we are trying to offer solutions within the blockchain.
Yeah.
Because if you go outside the blockchain, for instance, to a court, then nothing is going to happen inside. It's not possible. So more or less, that's my perspective. But I want to learn from the expert here about it.
Yeah, you know what? I actually, Inigo, you give me a clue, because I have to beg your pardon, because I haven't explained why we are here. What is the case? Just for the audience to know, we are here because 3 weeks ago, it arose on the news that someone, this ghost, this Lazarus Group, stole 1.4 billion from somebody's crypto wallet. There is a full investigation, and Brin will give us technical details. Yeah, it is actually, we are talking about the 0.4% of all Ethereum in the world. That's a big amount. In one exchange, this huge amount of money of Ethereum was driven to somebody else's wallet without their owners knowing. So, and that's so relevant. Brin, I think that everything is pointing to you. So please give us some light.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive in. Okay, I'll start by saying that the hack was perpetrated on the Bybit crypto exchange, which is one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world, particularly for derivatives trading of cryptocurrency. And it was perpetrated by a group called Lazarus, as you correctly said. This is a North Korean state-backed hacker group. And previously, these guys are very famous in the 2010s for not hacking so much cryptocurrency, but Web 2 style attacks, shall we say. They famously breached Sony in 2024. They were behind the May 2017 WannaCry ransomware attack, which is one of the biggest ransomware attacks in the world. And then somewhere in the late 2010s, they shifted their focus more to cryptocurrency. Because when cryptocurrency is stolen in a hack, it's very, very hard to get it back. It's very hard to recover the funds. So they shifted. They're responsible for lots of crypto hacks, lots of the major, 7 and 8 figure and now even higher crypto hacks are related to this group. And how did they do it? So inside the exchange, there is a multi-signature, so a wallet with multiple people that were responsible for signing transactions. This incident was not caused by a flaw in the smart contract code. Instead, in this incident, the attackers exploited the human and operational layers of this company's operation. So what they were seeing, and they use a device just like this one I have here. This is called a ledger, hardware wallet. And they were using this to sign the transactions. Okay. The hackers managed to, 2 days before the attack, they managed to inject malicious code into the Amazon Web Services S3 bucket of the Safe wallet, which is the wallet software that these guys were using. And the hardware was this device right here. The company was the signers on the multisig. They were using a technique called blind signing. And this is where if you have a smart contract, there's lots and lots of transaction data. So that you can see this screen is tiny. It's very small. If you have 72 pages of transaction data to click through on this device, it becomes very cumbersome. So you use a technique called blind signing to shorten the transaction data. And this is what happened here. Essentially, the hackers managed to inject malicious code. They managed to change wallet addresses within the transaction metadata to their own wallet addresses. And very sophisticated methodology, they managed to delete the malicious code about 2 minutes after the hack took place. Okay, so they were aware that forensic analysis would happen almost immediately with this amount, and they managed to delete the code. Now, we at Hackem, we do proof of reserves audits for lots of exchanges, attestations to prove their solvency for crypto exchanges, and Bybit is one of our clients. So we were working very closely with them over the weekend to prove specifically their solvency after this attack. And I can only commend the Bybit team because they were on the X spaces immediately, reassuring their community. They proved their solvency with us. They were fantastic throughout this whole experience. We've seen centralized exchanges and crypto be hacked in the past, and the CEO disappears, and there's the customers are left with nothing to go back to. In this instance, Bybit did everything they could to reassure the community. And we're really, really happy to continue to work with them.
Yeah, thank you, Bryn. For example, it's very useful to see one of these devices that you show, because most of users are not acquainted with this kind of technology, and we all think that most of the people thinks that this is all about ethereal things, non-materials, and yes, we will talk about cold wallets and warm wallets and what the difference is between them. Matthias, thank you for being here. What's your approach on this matter?
About what he said, generally speaking, I obviously agree. I think there is also an angle here that many people think that smart contracts are immutable, and to a point they are. But how this happened in practice, I mean, how they managed to change from multisig to a single signatory, is because modern smart contracts, for the most part, they are indeed immutable, but they have a proxy model. So basically, they point to a stored code. Essentially, the code is also stored on chain and all, but theoretically, this proxy contract could point in the future to different code. And this is exactly what appears to have happened here. And as it was said, yeah, I think the main problem was the fact that there was not something like a clear sign or something that would have showed more of the transaction, maybe. But in any case, one major problem here is perhaps the obsession with hardware wallets, with the fact that, okay, keep everything air gap, but if you keep everything air gap at the same time, what you get is no real-time feedback of what's going on. Now, many people have said, well, so what's the alternative? I mean, because if you have, on the one hand, hardware wallets with this issue, multi-sigs also can have certain issues because basically the signatories are known. They are high profile. You can target them some way. So there is an alternative that companies like Zengo or Fireblocks have been using, which is multi-party computation. And the good thing of MPC is that here is no longer a question of the code, because basically they are secured by the cryptography, not by the code. Essentially, you split the secret. You split it in parts. Could be similar to factors in a way. When you do multi-factor with other things that you are used to rely on. So this in a way has the best of both worlds, because you really have the real-time feedback. It is connected to the internet, and it's not overly obsessed by keeping everything air gap, which, by the way, is not as foolproof as it seems. If we think about, we are speaking about state actor attacks, well, we can think of ways that air gap has been bypassed in the past using air gap jumpers, also known as breachware, which is essentially how, whenever you see a uranium centrifuge blow up, it's mostly this. They basically modulate several frequencies. It could be from acoustic, electromagnetic, magnetic, electric, optic, or even thermal parameters. So you take the device, so long as you have another receiver within range, you're fucked, essentially. So.
Yeah, that's right, Matthias. Thank you, Inigo. At last but not least, I'd like to know what like the regular lawyers, what can regular lawyers can do with these kind of problems, like these kind of digital problems. What the normal law can do with when you have a problem of this kind. It's not like you go to the police and say, "Hey, okay, I've been robbed." Why they robbed you? Ethereum, you know. So, Inigo, what do you think about this Heist, this case?
It's a lot of comments I have to do. I have been drafting in these, from this point of view, some things. The first thing is, for an ordinary, so to say, ordinary lawyer, this is a mess. It's impossible to protect your client. Why? Because the first question is, which is your jurisdiction? Where was the crime committed? Well, I don't know, because all the nodes are distributed all over the world. On the wallet, well, I don't know, because you have to take a look to every wallet and to see up to which extent it is centralized or not. When is the crime? It's many questions. The first one, the most important, the jurisdiction. That's not solved. But the first, but it has to be understood, and it's important to take note of, is that this has, so to say, two perspectives. One of them is the penal one. So where is the criminal to be prosecuted? How, and which are the means? How do we do it, and what time will it take, and so on. But that's not, I think, in this world, the correct perspective. The first perspective, and most important one, is how do we get the money back? I mean, it's a 1.4 billion US dollars.
Yeah.
Well, I must say that 1.4 billion from the US way of counting. In Spain, it's 1.4 millardos. Is that 10 up to 9, not on up to 12? It's important to know because there is a slight difference in the amount. But anyway, how do we take the money back? Well, this is another perspective because, of course, we have to look for a penal responsibility, but the first thing we want is the money back. Give the money to the legitimate owners, and then we can prosecute some criminals in North Korea, which is impossible. Well, it is possible, but I mean, with all the difficulties that you will find, and in 10 years you will just have begun the process. How do we get the money back? In order to get the money back, I think the best way is the one that Matthias has implemented, which is that his service, escrow and through a wallet or not, has an arbitrator that can exclude, because that's a word, exclude the jurisdiction of any judge and give the people the power of the people, so that, as I stated in the beginning, the peer-to-peer justice appears instead of a centralized justice, which is the state's justice. How do we do that? It is important to have implemented before the theft comes the legal authority of an arbitrator to, first of all, settle interim measures, blocking those tokens and giving them back temporarily to the chain, to these legitimate owners, and then we will prosecute the thieves. But the first thing is to stop the effects of the theft. Now, this can also happen in the physical world. Some 3 or 4 months ago, here in my surroundings in Majadahonda, some I don't know if they were Ukrainians or Russians, but some criminals of one of I truly do not remember if they were Ukrainians or Russians, but with some violent methods, stole a cold wallet, in which was told to have lots of bitcoins inside. That's the same case. The only difference is one has been done electronically in a wallet, and the other has been done with a gun. But once we can determine which tokens, which bitcoins, which whatever, ETCs or whatever, have been stolen and which they were, which we can, because those are tokens and are identified, the first thing is to give them back to their owners. So thus, stopping any further theft to be incentivized, because if the effect of this theft is that all the money stolen is immediately being returned to its legitimate owner according to the decision of the independent experts, in this case arbitrators, what's the use? What's the use? Because you're not getting money. I mean, if you steal money, you have to search for the money and block the coins or the whatever and the dollars and have them back. But in this case, we know where the dollars are, we know where the tokens are, we know where the bitcoins are, so we can get them back. Now, just to finish this short consideration, I once heard a legal professor here in Madrid saying that the first stone to build a rocket is what you need is not an engineer. What you need is a contract. The first thing you need to build a rocket is a contract, because with that contract you hire engineers, you hire what you need, whatever you need, and then you can begin preparing whatever you need to build a rocket. The peer-to-peer Bitcoin world has been created and implemented and does work by the moment without lawyers, without arbitrators, without this kind of, in practice, probably securities. I know they're not securities in the technical point of view, but it's what we call seguridad jurídica, to be sure about what you're doing and what you can expect. So once again, in the new Bitcoins and in the old ones, in some with more difficulty, but also in the old Bitcoins, and the old blockchains, the first thing you need is a contract. So in other words, don't create any new blockchain without beginning with a contract, because if not, you're incentivizing that you get stolen.
It sounds a bit like a
Yeah,
marriage
that's right, Inigo.
at the same time.
Yeah, right, Matthias. Yeah. And just summarizing what you said, and this is a very good idea stated from Brin. Just imagine that that they sign, from their point of view, they were signing a normal transaction. So in other, like in blockchain, in crypto terms, the transaction was legal. So it was a normal transaction, because the user was okay. I know this is very this is a very difficult idea to understand, but the user was signing. It wasn't aware that he was signing a fraud. He was a regular transaction, and when they were aware that the money was gone. What was that moment?
It must have been a stressful moment, huh?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
imagine, because as I read and as I hear that, okay, you said that these thieves, the Lazarus, they just inject some code into the
In and out.
into the.
They injected it 2 days.
Go
They injected
ahead.
it 2 days before, and they tested as well.
Uh-huh.
3 days before, and then they managed 2 minutes after the hack. They managed to delete the code. It's very, very sophisticated on the software level. On the the human level, it's clear that a more proactive approach is necessary. This practice of blind signing huge transactions, this can't continue. MPC solutions like Fireblocks, essential for large exchanges, yes, for sure. It's clear that nation state actors are targeting cryptocurrency organizations more and more. And I think I commend the European Commission on developing regulation like DORA to combat this. This is directly, as I understand it, a response to nation state backed cyber attacks on critical infrastructure. So yeah, a big part of my job now is preparing our clients for this regulation. Right now, I can give you some data on the response and the level of funds that have been frozen so far. So Bybit actually launched the Lazarus Hack Bug Bounty Program. They're offering $140 million to at the moment to track and freeze stolen funds. At the time of our postmortem going to press, only 3% have been actually frozen. The rest are under monitoring. 90% is being tracked. 6.74% waiting for responses from the various entities that are holding these coins. What we saw,
it's going to be a painful
process.
Of
course. What we saw in the moment of the hack was that the hacker takes the money into one wallet and then distributes it among hundreds of different wallets, and then they start to distribute over more. It becomes like a web of transactions, there was a bounty immediately announced on Twitter by Arkham Intelligence in the first moments of the hack. And there's a Twitter user called ZachXBT, and he managed to link some of the wallet addresses that the funds were traveling into to previous wallet addresses used by the Lazarus Group. So that's how we got the link and the culprit. Right now, the funds are under monitoring. Obviously, everybody in the world is watching to see where these funds are being sent and what's going on with them. I think it's very clear that we need to have automated response systems in place to protect against these kind of incidents. if you start to see suspicious or anomalous transactions in your key, wallets, your liquidity pools, then there needs to be some kind of automated response system, because nobody can be online 24/7 watching the chain, and it's very clear. We have this solution called Extractor that monitors the transactions on lots of different EVM chains, and it can intercept hacks like this. Right now, we've developed a new detector specifically for the safe wallet infrastructure as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Brent. And this one is for you, Ignacio, because we've been talking about this matter the last weeks and days. Last day we were talking about how are we facing these kind of problems from backs, and what can we do from societies like backs to solve, to give a solution for these kind of problems, because as Inigo stated, these problems has not jurisdiction. So there's nothing that you can go to a lawyer, to the police, to say, okay, I've been robbed. When, where? These are the very first questions that anyone is going to ask you, and you have to have solutions for this. And the thieves are very creative. Once we solve this problem, they will find another way to steal the money from somebody else's. So, Ignacio, what we can do, what kind of solutions can we offer from backs and this arbitration society to these kind of problems?
Yes, thank you. So as Inigo pointed out before, legal security. So for me, the first generation of Web3, if we can say that way, Bitcoin was like a cyberpunk movement, and so many Web3 they just say, so we don't want law, we don't want states, nation state, we don't want anything, we don't want authority. So we can say perhaps it's a decentralized authority or something like that. I think that we are like building this internet jurisdiction, so we need new tools, because nation state was born on a different concept with different problems, ready from the inner structure to offer this need on a blockchain, on a jurisdiction. So for backs, it's been difficult when we were talking to the first generation Web3 people, because either they think don't need anything else, or because they just want to go to the casino and to speculate. So for us, it was a bit tough. But right now, we have, at least in Europe, we have so many companies, they are leaving Europe and they are moving from, for instance, the last companies we have been talking, they are moving to the United States, and they say, okay, here in Europe is a bureaucratic place, and it's very burden. Yeah, so it's difficult for them. But now, so they know also the problem of state regulating. So a state can end with decentralized technology. So this is one of the main things. It's an essence of internet. It's decentralized. It's peer-to-peer, as Inigo said before. I can say that the second generation, some people, they know the worst thing, or the worst part of living without law and living with a complete law, like is the national state regulation. So we need like a second option, or third option, that is of arbitration. Speaking in crypto terms, we are a justice or legal oracle. So oracles are really important, always to call to a third one who is going to offer some data that is going to be used. So we are a justice oracle or legal oracle. And it depends on each blockchain, each protocol that they want to offer this to. It's a matter of responsibility. So we are outside, and the other one is the stamp of quality. So some of the projects or protocols they submit to our stamp of quality, so they know that there are good people behind the project and they are trying to do the right thing. So more or less, these are we're working on, and let's see we achieve this legal maturity. We can speak in that.
Yeah, sure, we will. Indeed, I'm also thinking again about this phrase of Inigo, the like peer-to-peer solutions. Indeed, when you have no jurisdiction, you have no one to go with your problem. And this technology, smart contracts, allow us to implement solutions, automatisms to we can enable automatisms in these smart contracts to execute when something like this happened. For example, Inigo was saying me the other day, we were talking about this solution that we are starting to state, okay, if we detect that my cryptos has been stolen, we have this automatism implemented in the crypto itself that it will send the my cryptos to my wallet right away without knowing to
Mm.
intermediate. That's just one solution, then the one possibility, but there are lots of solutions that we can talk about. And it is very important and relevant that societies like Bax bring this conversation, did matter, this topic, to the legal authorities, to the government, to the organizations, because crypto things, as I call them, are getting bigger and bigger problems. Matthias, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I think going back to the response that Bybit had, I think it was smart for them to treat it as a bounty, and this because Ignacio was
Yeah,
mentioning the Wild West, and I think when you offer a bounty, this dead or alive thing, you are making it much harder for the criminal to hide, because every possible ally now is not a safe place. Maybe he will betray you. So
yeah,
this is an important thing. And then going back to touching on something that Inigo was masterfully saying, yeah, I think there is an in between. Between okay, you have the state law, and then you need to have something to reach where the state cannot. And this reminds me at the age of sail, when you had all those pirates, and well, basically they were pirates, but they still had a contract, and those were contracts with very clear terms as to how everybody was to be paid. What were the grounds for punishment? For instance, marooning. You would be abandoned at an isolated island. You would not be killed if you could survive very well, but you could be abandoned there, ostracized in a way. And then sometimes, even though those were very far from the state because they were at sea back in the day, sometimes they also had the patente de corso, the letter patent, and then they were no pirates anymore. They were essentially corsairs. So this is, I think, the value also to have something like a proper quality stamp certification, essentially. And in essence, the other good thing of certification is that you set a standard, and this is something that
yeah,
in the industrial revolution everybody talks about, okay, the technological advancements and all, but in reality the most important thing that happened there was the standardization that made it possible for several technologies to collide and to actually become a force multiplier.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Inigo, talk us more about these peer-to-peer solutions, because Even when every time that people, Ignacio bring this idea, this former idea of crypto things and blockchains were an anarchy, anarchy, like crypto, like cyberpunk things, and every time that governments and organizations, big companies, hear about people talking about peer-to-peer solutions, that means we are not getting nothing from it. We are not getting taxes, we are not getting fees, we're not getting. So but there's this possibility, and people is always looking, in the era of internet, is always looking for these kind of solutions that doesn't go through anyone else's ecosystems, you know so what we can nowadays do to build these peer-to-peer solutions, legal solutions,
Yes.
or conflict solving solutions.
Well, peer-to-peer has a price. I mean, operating centralized has a cheap price. It's just your freedom. You sell your freedom, you get the protection of the state. When you operate peer-to-peer, you have to defend yourself or yourselves. That's the. We must return once again to Satoshi Nakamoto. It's a peer-to-peer money without the intervention of financial institutions, but that's a surprise. And the price is living in this world. Well, there are always rules. There are always rules. The main problem I see now for this theft, because we are in the peer-to-peer world, because we operate in the peer-to-peer world, is what they have done. I mean, they have bought and sold immediately. I don't know the word in English, but that is the theft, and in Spanish we call it, we say receptación, which is selling the good that has been stolen. The theft and the receptación, which word I really don't know, which is a technical one in English.
Fencing, or in
Sorry?
this case, laundering maybe is more appropriate.
No. I'll talk about laundering later. Laundering, it's not laundering.
So-
fencing.
If it's an object, we would call it fencing. Yeah.
Fencing. Well, this is an object. You can't touch it, but it's an object. So it's fencing has been done immediately, and that is a classic problem, very important, of third party in good faith. What has what have the centralized wallet done? What they have done is to try to have the money back. But the question is, if these tokens have already been sold to other parties in good faith, they may claim the money, because it's not so easy, and they can do that legally because they bought in good faith, paying with money, paying with bitcoins, paying with whatever means they have used to pay, and they can say, no, sorry, I bought this in the market. This is a blockchain. I am a member of this blockchain because I've got these tokens. I bought these tokens, and you're not taking those tokens back. Why? Because there's no legal authority that's going to give the tokens back. Why? Because there is no judge that says this belongs to this one or that one. That disappears completely with arbitration. Why? First of all, arbitration is the most, perhaps the only internationally recognized institution in the whole world, legal world, commercial world. Why? Because international goods for centuries have been sold and bought internationally, shippings and international commerce, and etc. So this means that local judges have nothing to say about that. Lloyd's, as shipping arbitrators, are very well known, and there's something is needed in that kind of businesses. Now we need arbitration from an international point of view, but we also need arbitration because of the lack of jurisdiction. What does arbitration do? Well, arbitration is it's not just the most international, but it's also the a way of putting the judge aside. I mean, the judge is the one who is to execute what the arbitrator has done, but no more the judge. He's no more a judge to determine who is the owner, but to fulfill, to enforce the law. Just that. Now, when we get to Bitcoin, we get to not really Bitcoin, to blockchains, we get to smart contracts. And when we have smart contracts, we don't need smart judges because we have the contracts to execute that. And that leads me to the importance of not misleading with the names. When we talk of IA, which is artificial intelligence, there's no intelligence and not artificial. I mean, it's a very commercial name, but really, just a minute. It's just a name. When we talk of smart contracts, it's no contract. It's not smart at all. So what are we talking about? We are talking about self-executing programs. Now, what does the arbitrator do? To press the mouse, and then the blockchain is restored when the tokens are recovered to its original owner. But, and this is most important, legally, because the arbitrator has the law enforcement, can legitimately do that. And how does he do that? Well, in a very simple way. The procedure is short. The decision is the arbitrator's decision, and the execution needs no judge. Why? Because he has the smart contract, which only him can put into activate. This means that this means that just let me a second. We have to take also note that the arbitration need also not just procedural rules, but for every coin also some kind of commercial rules, so to say. Remember, please, the letter of credit. You can think, and you may perhaps think that this is something new. No, this kind of legal problems are very, very old, centuries old. How did our parents, our grandparents, deal with all this, with the letter of credit? And which was the problem of the letter of credit? Where the goods were, just as now. And how did they solve that? There were two ways. That will take us more time, but there were two systems. There was the abstract system, which means I don't care who is the legal final owner of these goods. What I care is who has the letter of credit. You, okay? You get the credit. You get the goods. You get the money. You are the owner. That's one way. And the other way, which is the French way, is taking care of the cause. Yes, you have the tokens because you stole them. So it's not so easy. I have the tokens. I am the owner. No, just a minute. You have the tokens. You have a presumption of being the owner, but you are not the owner, not necessarily, because we have to examine your cause. Who does that? The arbitrator. The community does that? No, it's impossible. The wallet does that? No, because what the wallet needs is an insurance policy.
Yeah, that's so important for us in Vax. That's something that it is in our ADN, giving this kind of new solutions, innovational solutions to new problems, innovative solutions for innovative problems. Just a brief, because we are, maybe you don't believe me, but we are just an hour from the start. Just to finish, because guys, I have a presential event here. We have the biggest guys of AI here in La Región de Murcia. For we are talking about AI for industry. And Inigo, I have to ask if I can get this phrase, this idea that
Oh, of course.
you give me. Artificial intelligence is not that artificial nor intelligent, so it's just a commercial name, and this is something that we have to to deeply think about when we just go running to put the tag, like AI tag, to anything just because it sells. AI sells books, AI sells anything, machines and software and computers and devices and anything. So yeah, we have this event starting in just an hour, and I am the one of the co-hosts. So I'm running away of these podcast with your
Sure.
permissions, but not without hearing your last word about this thing. And I'm giving you a personal invitation for the next episode. Indeed, all together again or one by one. No problem. This is your house. This is your microphone, so you can use it anytime. Brin, what can we expect in the future with these kind of problems that are getting bigger and are coming often, more often?
Yeah, I will say that
2 minutes.
thank you. It's and thank you for having us. It is everybody's responsibility in this industry to up their cybersecurity game. Web3 projects on average spend about 2% of their budget on cybersecurity versus in banking and finance, this is 25 to 25%. It's a lot higher. Yeah, in terms of how we can work together, so on our side, we can develop these risk management frameworks, these automated response plans. These systems are in place. We have very robust cybersecurity tooling, but it's on the legal and regulatory side to push that and make it mandatory for these projects, right? We need to remove this gung-ho attitude to developing Web3 projects because there's simply too much value locked in them. And I guess I'll finish by saying it is always, always cheaper to pay a white hat hacker than a black hat hacker. Okay. You can steal that one as well.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because when the cost of the black hacker is not giving you any value back.
Every time.
Stealing it.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Anytime. We'll meet you in the future. Matthias, what are your thoughts? What is coming?
Well, essentially, I was thinking about one topic that we didn't cover. I just wanted to touch as a last thing.
But don't feel bad
No,
about that, because it's
no, no,
impossible to
no
cover
problem.
all the
No,
information,
I just
all this big topic in
yeah,
just an
yeah.
hour. So don't
I
feel
know.
bad. We will
Essentially, I just
retake
was
it.
going to say that Ignacio shared with me news about this alleged Bitcoin being hacked by quantum computers. I think, absent of any proof of that, I think that's bogus. That's not.
This is another
Real.
box of frogs we can open on the next podcast, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
the
for the
next
next,
podcast.
to keep it in the. And by the way, I have to go now because I'm rushing as well as you. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say on my end.
Thank you, Matthias. Ignacio, your final words.
Yes, my final words is that we have to be aware.
Just for this episode.
Yes. No, we need systems, Web3 era that we are living in. So I hope the community start thinking about beforehand. I am very happy to share this time with all of you, Abel, Matthias, because for me it's special, this sharing this moment with all of you.
My pleasure, Ignacio. Our pleasure. Just for you to know that we've been talking about this already. Just for you to know that this is the first of a lot of episodes talking about this matter, and this is your house. I'm not kidding. Inigo,
I
please.
have a
Well,
word.
first, thank you for being with us. But please
Thank you.
tell us what's coming.
What's coming is blockchain 2.0 for all the kinds of blockchains you can imagine. And the new world will be for the blockchains with native rules. Those who don't have native rules will be ancient, old generation blockchains without legal enforcement. So I emphasize the need of new blockchains with stated native rules.
Yeah, that's it. And well, my security is a big problem, not just in blockchain. I work in a digital transformation company. We are every day implementing ERPs, MRPs, and all kind of ERPs, systems of information. And security is still being the biggest problem because we are dealing with people. So training. That's very important until AI does anything for everything, and we have to do nothing but go to the beach and enjoy life.
It's a terrible
But till that
life.
day, yeah. But till that day, if we have to manage our own security, of the security of our own goods, this is something that we have to talk about a lot. Security and what the black hackers, as Bryn said, what are they doing and innovating every day, because this is going to be bigger in the future. No solo IA, no solo AI. This is your house, this is your microphone. So thank you for being here today, and we are waiting for you within a month. I don't know. This has to be the first of most. Brin, thank you very much. Ignacio, thank you very much. Matías Monteagudo, thank you very much. Íñigo, Colo de Portugal, thank you very much.
See you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
See you.